What has been
what
the
we're working on.
what has been the most interesting thing that you found in the last, let's say, couple years that you didn't
The
expect to see?
importance of doing a global analysis. And what I mean
And
by
what
that
would
is,
global be? Yeah.
yeah. So what I mean by that is, when you look at golf and you look at the history of instruction, it's always, it's always a discussion of parts or something like that. Or, someone will look at somebody's right elbow or their right hip or their leg, and they're looking at the different parts of the system. What I've learned the most, people ask in the last few years, is, and this is through the lens that Dr. Nesbit provided for me, is to look at the entire golfer and club as a system. So it's the holiday season, and you ever see those snow globes that you know everybody always gets in the holidays? You got the snow globe, you shake it.
Shake it up. Yep.
Yeah. So picture we put the golfer in the snow globe, right? And the golfer swinging, and if the snow globe was neatly wrapped around the golfer, uh, and then what would happen is, as the golfer took a wider backswing or raised their arms, the globe would start to grow and expand. It would grow and come back. It would like, be expanding. And then when they came into impact, it would be probably almost closer together than where it was at address. And then
Hmm.
it would expand as you go. Right. So we look at it from that perspective, but also, uh, like a bird's eye view of this, how much does the actual globe rotate in a swing? When does the entire system turn back and then reverse and start down? So the global analysis lets you see the total of all the parts. So to give you an example, I could talk about it forever, but what would help a golfer right away listening to this, right, is the fact that early in the downswing, you might see a leg or a hip or a lot of parts of the body starting to rotate forward early on in the downswing. Yet the system, because the length and stretch out of the club and how far away the club is, and as it comes closer in that area, the whole system doesn't start reversing in the downswing until much later than um, you would.
Like a proximal to distal energy transfer from
Yes, yes,
internal
yeah.
of the.
So like the classic proximal initiation, distal delay, and then
Mhm.
that. But it's also a good way to think about it is, if you threw a baseball, the baseball's going through the air and it's traveling linearly, we would call it, or on a curve as it came around, but it's also spinning and rotating. The golfer inside this globe is expanding and shrinking, and also the globe itself is twisting and rotating. So,
I didn't mean
yeah,
to interrupt, but for someone listening, if they're not watching this on YouTube, or you'll have it on I'll give you the full link for your website if you like. But what would the expanding and contraction be in reference to?
the global moment of inertia of the system. So, um, it's just as simple as the figure skater analogy, right? If you put the snow globe on the figure skater and they brought their arms in, the globe would become really, really thin,
Okay.
right? And they would be spinning faster. And then just by spreading their arms out alone, the globe would then expand. And with the same amount of uh, induced torque, whatever, it would just slow down because it got bigger. So, what does this mean? Why even bring it up, right, in a casual conversation like this? Well, there's a direct correlation to the skill level of a player as to when the whole globe reverses on the downswing. The later it is, the better the golfer. You can look at career earnings, career um, performances, and make a list of them, of all the people that we've captured. And the more money made, the more tournaments win, they all reverse the globe later. So what you take from that is, when you watch someone start their downswing and you see them fire their hips and their pelvis goes. They make a lateral move forward, and you're watching this big move, and everybody's trying to open up right away and drive. Is understand that as you see those body parts on the best players, the whole system is still in a backswing turning mode. So the baseball going through the air, I use this analogy with my students all the time. Picture you're the baseball now, and you're making a backswing. And as you go forward, it's like the pitch has started going towards home plate. We linearly push ourselves. We move a couple inches forward, but the baseball would be making a backswing rotation. The baseball would be reversing the other way. So
I think
essentially, what I'm saying is when you start your downswing and you see body parts going forward and you push yourself forward, uh, the overall system is still making a backswing rotation.
I think Mike Granado and Sean Webb, I think, have posted, I think, a fair amount about that, to where you're, as the body, the pressure shifts into the trail side, and it's already, once it hits about, let's say, lead arm parallel or thereabouts. I don't want to put words in their mouth. This is what I'm interpreting. So if I'm wrong, I'm happy to have them on the show and they can correct me and we'll have a good time. But as the lead arm gets to parallel in the backswing, the pressures have already shifted into the trail side, that they're already starting to move back to the target side of the body as the club and the arms are still going the other directions. Do I have that analogy of what you're describing, where the system?
That would be like a little component of it, right? That would
Okay.
just be looking at what it sounds like is the side to side pushing in a swing, and what I
Mm-hmm.
gather from what you said, that would be early on. So one thing you want to know is you can't move your body's mass center side to side, up and down, front to back without an external force. It's impossible. So if you were in space, you couldn't move yourself because we have gravity, because we have support from the ground, the support force. We can yield and propel our body, and we need an external force to help us do that. So what you're describing to me, what it sounds like there, I stay insulated from the golf industry. I don't listen to the any instruction anymore because it
Mm-hmm.
just confuses me. But so we would be pushing ourselves back on the backswing, right? And then at some point here, right around that lead arm parallel to the ground, it would probably show the most weight traveling backwards, and then it's starting to slow down in that direction to then push forward.
Correct.
So
Yeah, I
I
think
would
that's
expect,
what they were doing.
yeah, yeah. So while at that stage in the backswing, right, there would still be a lot of torque being created in the backswing direction. But what I'm talking about, this notion that we're continuing to torque backwards would happen well into the downswing till about the hands are chest high in the downswing. So although you
Interesting.
see a body of a golfer really twisting around, the whole system doesn't reverse till later. So people have to think about that, and it's a little complicated, but it's a huge finding.